Hi, yeah, it's Xavier. Welcome to my bonsai retreat. And you know, there's one thing that I love beyond all things when it comes to exploring bonsai possibilities and actually finding trees. And that's to visit my favorite, I think the best place for all things bonsai, all things potential bonsai. And that's Savin Nursery in Spondon, in the sort of Bedford area of England. Many of you who follow my channel will know that I've done stuff on this place before, and a lot of my trines, a lot of my trees from 2016, 2017, 2018 have come from here. And the staff are fantastic. I'm always treated well. Do you know what? We're going to see if we can find ourselves some bargains. I'm going to be very careful, and I'm going to point out and show you exactly what it is I look for when I'm trying to find future trees that maybe will make great trees or great bonsai. We might also look at the bonsai they've got available. I'm sure they'll have stuff there. But in particular, today, I want to find myself some maple and see what I can do with them. So should we go inside? I mean, I think the thing that always amazes me is just the sheer volume of some of these olives. I think you really have to be up close to understand that probably this has got to be one of the few places in the UK where you can find such a great selection. And if I thought I had any hope of actually getting one of these home, I'd probably take advantage of it. It's talking about olives, and then you see this great big monster. I mean, imagine having that as part of your collection. About 14 foot tall. But again, I would imagine that the base itself has been cut off to create that. I don't know. You know, for a garden centre that offers trade prices, you really can't do much better than coming down here. If you're easily accessible via the A1 or M1 across Bedford, absolutely brilliant. Loads of stuff here, not necessarily for bonsai, pretty well anything if you want garden stuff. Each year I'm often amazed. I have a look at these cloud, I believe it's cloud larch, and you know, that's a good 8 feet tall. Pads being created at different levels. Really quite impressive. So, and I tell you what, look at all these greenhouses, just a few of them. It's absolutely amazing. I managed to just go for a quick twinkle, and I got apprehended on the way out by Daryl's mum, who's actually owns all this establishment. Unfortunately, Daryl's not here right now, so I won't be able to speak to him. But right outside the Dunnies, have a look at this. Look at this maple. This is something that's got a massive great trunk on it. And depending on the price, if I had my van, this is the sort of thing that I'd potentially be looking at taking. You've got to ask yourself one big question first. I bet you want to know what that is. And I tell you what, it's not just bonsai you get here at Savin Nursery, as well as a friendly smile. You've got big rocks, you've got pebbles, you've got all the stuff you want to go looking through. But you've also got here, got a nice recycled iron lion. I'm not sure how big the bonsai would have to be to put this on there, but Nigel, I reckon you could put this on one of your great jade type plantings or something like that. Right, let's get inside and have a look, because that's what you all really want to see. It's always good when you've got a sign that says entrance welcome. Is that the entrance is welcome, or that your entrance is welcome? I can see the bonsais already. There they are, I think, amongst the Christmas trees. And in fact, we've got some flowering stuff here. I tell you, there's nothing better than when you walk in here and you've got some new trees that you haven't seen before. What's better? Look at the incredible pink flowers that you've got on these. Absolutely, well, they're fantastic, and great big trunks on them, some nice movement. Tell you what, if you like flowering bonsai, this is definitely something you want to have a look at. Come down and see. Well, the primary reason I used to come to Savin Nursery was for the bonsai section, and you know, each year it probably gets a little bit smaller, and I think that reflects the way things are in the world and how prices have increased, shipping, all those sort of problems. But you know what? It's still cheaper here, and it's still quality. And hey, I've got a whole range behind me. We're going to go and have a look in a minute. But you know what? The real reason I've come here, I want to get into those greenhouse areas, and I want to start seeing if I can find myself some maple, some Fuji cherry, maybe some yew. Now, the other great thing about Savin Nursery is, you know what? You may not be here just for the bonsai. I certainly, when I used to come with my wife, we'd be looking for other stuff. Behind me, absolutely tons of Christmas trees. And again, if that's what you need, come down here. But there's also still bedding plants, loads of them all laid out here, grass, there's all sorts of stuff. Great for flowers, great for gardens, absolutely useless for bonsai. I don't look at that stuff. I tell you what, it blows my mind every single time, because I'm so used to the price of some of the bigger bonsai nurseries. And hey, that's not to say they're not great. You know, you've got Herons, you've got Greenwoods, you've got Dougie or Watson, and they've all got some quality stuff. But you know what? When you're at the entry level and you just want to have some bonsai to start your collection, or you just want to get these fingers delving in and breaking branches, you can't go wrong with this, because look at this. 3 Chinese elms in a lovely little oval pot, and really, really nice. In fact, they're not Chinese elm, but we'll ignore that for now, shall we? £15. I think they're Carmona, actually. Yeah, Fulcian tea. So actually, that's a tree that you well know that I probably don't recommend. Really hard to look after. I'll tell you what, price is great. And indeed, special offer, Sarissa. Probably one of the first bonsais I ever got way back in 2000. And I think it's called the Tree of 1,000 Stars. I think for me, it's called the Tree of 1,000 Deaths, because it just kept on dying. But tell you what, look at the roots on that. And indoors, something you want to look after, great flowers. Can't go wrong, especially for £15. In fact, do you know what? I reckon I'm going to break one of my rules about indoor trees. Killed my first Sarissa 25 years ago. Why don't I go and pick one of these up before I leave today and have a proper indoor tree? That'll be my challenge for 2026, keeping it alive. And you can learn too with the mistakes I make. Look, bonsai with little Christmas hats. You really can't go wrong with that, can you? It's all getting to the spirit. Not only the price, but it's a bit of ho, ho, ho as well. You're also finding there's just everywhere you look, there's going to be another bonsai tree. We've got these great big ones here. Yeah, you definitely want to have indoors for these, or certainly under shelter, because I do believe these are Carmonas, and yeah, they can be a bit fussy, just like my wife used to be. But this isn't getting in. We need to find some maples. Come on. And do you know what? Now I've come, well, it's some shade cloth here, but right down here I've got the dwarf evergreen azaleas, and often you'll find some really interesting things here. And what I'm looking for ideally is, in this instance, and you'll find this a lot in your nurseries and your plants, is what you've got is a lot of multi-trunk. So if you actually split that, you'll find that there's probably 3, 4, maybe 5. Now, this is definitely the time when you have a look under there and find whether or not actually it's a single plant, because that's what you're looking for. When you're looking at your azaleas in the nurseries and stuff like that, I mean, look at that, £6.50, 3 for £18. If you're looking to make a dwarf azalea forest, get all those lovely flowers, absolutely fantastic. But main thing I'm looking for is something that's got a big fat trunk on it. Don't be tempted by the price, which is fantastic, and indeed all this growth, because ultimately all you're getting there is that thin little trunk. We want something a bit more substantial for our money. Although at £40, a bit more expensive, but you've got definitely something you can do. Is it a Kabadachi? Big clump out of that. That's pretty decent. Bearing in mind, all I'm going to do is cut all that top off next year if I bought this. And just here, Cedrus deodara. I think you saw that I got the Lebanon cedar from Avaland. That patch, to be fair, the trunk on that was a bit bigger, and that was 40 quid. Here, these deodaras, just under 50 quid. Again, it's interesting to do the comparison. Trunk, you're looking to see, again, down low, whether you've got any imperfections or anything like that. And have a look and see what you can do with something like this. You definitely want to be putting wire on it. And I think that's probably the first warning or recommendation I'd give to you. When you're surrounded by literally thousands and thousands of different species of trees and plants, I mean, look looks like we've got you here. Really, really interesting. Be really certain what you want. It'd be easily, you think, oh wow, I like that, and you pick it up, you spend 30 quid, and by the time you get home, you look and you think, do you know what? That's not really what I want. I always say, 1, know how much money you've got to spend. 2, know how much space you've got. 3, be aware of your skill level, what it is that you're capable of doing within your own environment. Again, make sure you know if the tree or not is going to be suitable for your environment. And then make sure you walk around first. Maybe take a little notepad, maybe take some pictures. Think about it so that you get the absolute best tree or the best potential bonsai for your dollar, buck or pound. Definitely got more yews here. Wow. And again, tempted, you look at everything. What do you look at first? You got to pull it up. You got to have a look and see what's going on down there. I know you can't see from there. It takes me hours, absolutely hours. Oh. £29. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Oh. Actually, just down here, we've got the Ilex crenata. These are all very, very small, but I remember 5 or 6 years ago, I definitely bought a load of these. Say £2.50, you make yourself a little forest out of those. Relatively easy to do, and a great way to get yourself started in the hobby. And this is the real reason I come out here. I'm looking for my maples. There's an there's an ocean of Japanese maples all around me here. Some incredible trunks. You've got these great big sort of 6-7 foot thick monsters. Yes, they're nearer the £100, but you know what? That's what you expect for something like that. And I know that's an awful lot cheaper than many other places I've looked at. But I've now really going to spend some time, and you can come with me, and we're going to look at these trunks, and we're going to start making decisions to see maybe if I can find something that'll make a great bonsai or start off in 2026. But this is the time to get them, because do you know what? Most people don't want to buy aces when they haven't got leaves on them, but we do, don't we? And after we've looked at the Japanese maples, I'm going to start digging around and having a look at these different pines. Absolutely, another big Mugo here, and very, very reasonable. Gosh, £50. So we're going to do the pines after we've done the maples, and don't be surprised if you came to this place at Savin Nursery, and if you happen to mention the Xavier from the Bonsai Retreat sent you, well, don't be surprised if they don't show you a little bit of kindness, whether it be coffees and chat, or indeed perhaps even a little percentage drop. Can't guarantee it, but who knows? Mention my name, they'll either throw you out or they'll see you all right. Anyway, I've got to go and look at those maples, don't I? Wow. Look at the trunks on this Japanese maple. Absolutely incredible. Just a shame that I'd have to lose the top 5 foot. Don't think I'll get that in my my wheelie car though. Let's go and find something a bit smaller, shall we? Now, although I'm looking for something that's got a bit of a thicker trunk, if you're starting, you've got these little, probably 2-year-old little plugs, or well, they're not plugs, they're in pots, but £5. That's absolutely wonderful. If you think how much it costs to just buy maple, if you've got 4 of these and just whack them into an oval pot, tell you what, that's cheaper than buying it from a traditional bonsai nursery. And that's not to say you don't get good stuff at a nursery, of course you do, but don't be frightened. Start with that, put 4 or 5 of them in a pot, grow them on. I've got loads and loads of Japanese maple forests that started off from 1-year-old saplings or seedlings. So, hey, £4.50, not bad. And just say, you've got big size 12 feet like I have, don't be afraid to still start getting into the back here and have a look, because this is where your bargain is going to be found. £12 here. You've actually got two here, Japanese jewel butterfly. I'll be wary of that. It's a variegated leaf. I know some people have got the variegated varieties, but I find they're less responsive. something a little bit bigger. But if you have a look at this, I mean, honestly, 18 pounds, you've got a great big thick trunk on there, cut everything below there and grow your tree from here. Great way to start a bonsai. And this is the sort of thing that I'm starting to look at. You've already got a nice bit of trunk on there. There's a little bit of movement here. You know, you've got choices about whether you keep this, grow from this, whatever happens. The thing to always remember, he says looking through these, is don't get distracted by the top 4/5 of it, because in reality, if it's going to be a bonsai, you've got to grow it. You've got to grow it from here. This part here is the most important part. So this is what I'm looking at, and then I'm looking down close down the base. The union here is absolutely incredible. You can hardly see it. It may well be that it's not actually a grafted species. What you do want to watch out for is if you ever dig around, what you're looking to see is whether or not you've got that inverse taper. Often you'll find the trunk's quite thick at the top. If you dig down a bit, it actually shallows in. That can be a real nightmare, especially if the nebari is all the way down there. And that one, again, really like that. Really do like that one. Potentially something there, actually. Cut everything from there, there, and there, and just grow it from this. But do you want to know how much it is? £39 for something like that. Absolutely incredible. So for 40 quid, that, I think, could well be coming back to the retreat. And as I say, all of this stuff here, it may be that there's stuff that I could do air layers of, and if I only had 2 or 3 trees, then yeah, I probably would be looking at lots of air layer opportunities. The reality is I've got loads. Quite like the look of this, could make a good project for 2026. I'll put it to one side. We've got a few more maples to look at and see if I decide. I've got to limit myself. Wow, the trunk on this one here, massive. But I can't believe this. All of these are around the sort of £40 mark, and definitely worth considering. Here's an example of when I talk about the graft and what you need to look at. This one here, yeah, Osa Kazuki. Yeah, £40, really nice, and you can be tempted to purchase this. But here's the thing: if we look in there already, you can see one. There's some marking and scarring on the trunk, but you can see where the union is. The graft is in there, and that for me, actually, it's not a bad one, but that's what you're looking for. The smoother and cleaner that is, the better the tree's going to be, and the more likely it's going to make a decent bonsai, because that's the bit you're going to be seeing. You don't want the ones that have got like a big V edge coming out. See if I can find one. They're all pretty good here. Well, do you know what? I've tried and I've tried and I've tried. Probably this one is the one that's got the worst of the unions, and I don't know if you can see it, but there's definitely an obvious V where it's gone in. You've got sort of 4 or 5 millimeters there that it's not smooth. You can definitely see the ridge there and the ridge line there. So I'd leave that alone. But trust me, that is still pretty good compared to what I've seen in some of the shops. And even when you look at some of your maple bonsai, if you want to build a bonsai from the start, you want to make sure that the base starts better. Does it build back better? I don't know. Now, another thing to be aware of is often we'll buy stuff and we've got that classic arrangement here where you've got 1, 2, 3. And you think, oh, okay, well, I'll remove the middle one. If you remove the right-hand one, then you've got this great big straight section this way. If you remove that one, you'll have the same section there. So you find you can be tempted. And what I say is never ever buy anything that's got this sort of structure, or you've got the classic U bend. And a lot of the sort of shop ones, that's exactly what you're going to find. So just make sure you avoid stuff that's got some real obvious faults to begin with. Because when we're starting this hobby, we don't want to make it harder from the get-go. Well, I've decided on the Japanese maple that I'm taking away with me. I'd love it to be this one. Again, 12 feet tall, absolute monster. But that base there, that's what you'd want. What would I do if I could get this one? It's only £1,200. Again, I'd basically go up 1 foot and then cut everything off. Although this, probably, there's so many air layers. If I was going to spend that sort of money, the first year would be air layering loads off the top. Do you know what? It wouldn't take long if you were to sell a few to get your money back. So you know what? Buying big isn't always a bad idea. Acer palmatum butterfly. Now, I'll be honest, I'm a lot more careful about the sort of junipers that I buy. Certainly, very, very rarely buy them now from nurseries. I've got lots of air layers going on, some nice Chinese juniper with nice, tight, compact foliage growth. I mean, you can find these sort of Juniper horizontalis, ground cover. Is it Chamisa Paris or something like that? Low growers. You can often do quite a lot inside. I mean, that's £40. And by the time you cut all the growth back, I think that's the problem when you're looking, certainly in your nurseries, trying to get in there and find exactly what you've actually got in that trunk. It'd be a bit of a hit and miss lottery. I got a lot of the Red Eastern cedars from here as well, great big ones. And in the end, well, if you've watched my channel, you know that I've had real trouble with them. So junipers, you really want your chinensis, that sort of varieties. I'm not a great one for the needle juniper. In fact, I'm probably the wrong person to ask about junipers. So when it comes to the juniper section, unless something come and bite me, I go walk the other way. You know, we've got something here. It's got a very, very interesting trunk. What have we got? A Pinus malinki. What's that at? £60. Well, we've got this thing here. Oh, Pinus strobus radiata. That's got an interesting trunk on it. Certainly some options with that. £60. The pine's a little bit more expensive. So if that's the price they are here, I can imagine there are a lot more elsewhere. What else over here? It's interesting. Pinus parviflora, Cucaho. So that's going to be your white pine. Interesting. And again, the problem you've got here, I can talk about the graft here really well now, because your Japanese white pines, your parvifloras, generally are put onto, I think it's a black pine stock. So if you get a bad graft, it destroys the tree. And this is the example. If you look in here, you can see that V I was talking about. Now, that's not to say over time it won't grow thicker and grow over, but that can be really problematic. And also where you've got here, this junction here, you've got loads and loads of branches from the same point. Unless you're going to make a clump out of that, you're going to end up having to take quite a few branches off, and can be quite unsightly. So that could be problematic. Mugo pine. That's very, very interesting. You could do quite a lot with that. Got a nice trunk and everything. Really, really like that. Again, just make sure you look in the base. It's got, actually, this is probably one of the things to talk to you about. Beware of those roots that are wrapping around. You know, often with the nursery stuff, the roots are going to be doing this around the pot, depending on how long they've been there. Certainly in this one, if you look in the base there, there's a whole tangle of roots. Although, you know what, that's a pretty good example for £65. Imagine creating your tree in there. Do a lot with that. And then of course you can't go far wrong with your pyrocanthas and stuff like that. Oh, lovely big berries on there. And £30, get some pretty decent trunks on there. It's another great one, definitely for a beginner. Pyracantha, find something that's got a nice trunk on it. Cotoneaster's the other one, similar. But look, where you've got loads of trunks for the money. You want your trunk for the money, so to speak, because again, you got to find a line that you cut to. So, but what a challenge that would be, eh? That great big thing, £30. But when you start thinking about your bonsai collection, Me especially, I've got a massive variety, but I like to have my flowering. I like to have my berries. I have Fuji cherry because they flower so brilliantly in sort of late February. As you move on, then you get your dwarf azaleas will start popping up in May time, your Saskia azaleas into the June, and all the while, the likes of the pyracantha, the cotoneaster, they'll be flowering later in the season as well. It's all about getting colour in your garden. That's what makes it interesting. That's what makes it so much fun. I tell you what, it surprises me every time. You always got to look in all the corners, especially in your nurseries. I mean, whichever nurseries you go to, and I'm spoilt here, there's always going to be bargain basement stuff hidden around in corners. That's the sort of stuff you love rooting around in. But I've just found these olives. And look at this, in terms of a nice structure to set you up with. Yeah, you're going to cut away probably everything from here upwards, but that trunk is perfect. All I need to see. Tell you what, how much would you pay for that? You look at the trunk on that, great big thing, £39. I think this is coming back home with me. Although, I might have another look at one that's just there. Well, I'm pretty well done. I've been here for a good hour and a half. I want to go and have a look at the bonsais because this is a bonsai channel after all. I haven't found any Fuji cherry. Very, very surprised. I'll have to go ask. But definitely got myself an olive and definitely picked myself up a maple. I'm going to bring a Sarissa back as well just for the challenge.